You don't actually believe this, do you? Well, I don't blame you, but as you watch me draw this, we need to dispel the most common art myths and lies that you've heard, and they are affecting you more than you realize or more than you know. And let's set the record straight, none of these are true. Alright, let's start this one off with a bang. Let me just be totally open and honest with you about something that you probably don't hear enough, that you might have this misperception of, and it's definitely skewing what you think the artistic process is going to be like. So tell me, do you think that you have to just be in this amazing mood the whole time you're creating? You're just blasting away at that artistically, you're having fun, you're in the middle of that project, you're smiling, you're grinning ear to ear, just cheesing all the way, and you're having a great time? That doesn't happen. Like, from one professional to you, friend, let me just tell you, that is never always the case, okay? Listen, there are some days where like I'm cranking away and things are going great and I am smiling and happy. But real talk, there are so many other times where that is just not the case. And so, no, it is not true. That myth that you have to feel happy while you're creating is actually hurting you from actually creating more. Because then the whole time you're trying to look for this sense of happiness and then you don't get happiness. And just to be honest with you, did you realize that there's so much of the artistic process that just sucks? Do you ever feel this way too? Because honestly, like, I can make a whole video just on this topic about just sometimes art just sucks, all right? And it's not coming out the way that you want. It's not looking the way that you wished it was. You're dealing with this chasm in between like where you imagined it and where it is right now. And because of all that, what that tends to do, especially for you younger artists watching this right now, is that it gives you this misperception that like, oh, because I'm not happy with it, because I don't like it right now, therefore I shouldn't work on it. But that's actually the exact reason why you should work on it. And so rather than you looking for happiness in your artwork, can I give you another suggestion, friend? You want to labor until you feel satisfied with it, okay? And sometimes it's not going to come out exactly the way that you want, and sometimes you're not going to be happy with it. But the best way that I've kind of learned on how to deal with this, both myself as a professional and for all of my students and for anybody in my mentorship, is like, look, you got to just go ahead and give that project the respect that it needs. And you want to give it the love and attention that it's going to need in order to grow up into the best version of itself, much like a kid. Like, you can't ever predict what a child is going to turn out like, okay? But you want to give them the love and affection and attention that it needs in order to bring out the best possible version of them. You see what I mean? So if you're like, oh, well, I just don't feel good, I don't think I can be an artist because I just don't feel good the whole time. Guess what, my friend? You don't have to feel good. So just let that one go, would you? All right, now this one. This is a brutal reality for everybody here that is a young, developing artist, especially for y'all that are students. And let me ask you about your perceptions around creativity. Like, what is creativity to you? What does it mean? And I think this is going to develop some stuff that you probably have gotten pretty pissed off at people, particularly our teachers, I'm gonna bet, and it has to do with this. Do you only feel creative when you get to do what you like to do? I only want to do this. I only want to do that. Don't tell me how to do this. Don't put me inside of a box. I don't like to do that stuff. I like to do this stuff. Don't make me do people. I only like to do dragons. Don't make me do animals. I only like to draw pretty girls. And so this myth I'm talking about, I'm dancing around right now, is the idea that creativity is only when you get to do what you want to do. And so I just want to really vehemently oppose for a second here, because based on research, creativity is not just based on what you actually like to do. It's on what you're not doing. It's on what you're avoiding. And it's also on your growth potential. And there are so many people that are like, oh, especially like art students, you know, and I've gone ahead and I've said this kind of stuff too when I didn't know any better. But I just want to let you know, as somebody that's more seasoned now, that like, that's not ever going to help you. You being more creative, quote unquote, by only doing what you love and you do all the time, can only therefore help you just stay exactly where you are. And actually, according to like a lot of research and a lot of psychology on this, is that you actually become more creative the more that you are either challenged outside of your comfort zone or there are constraints placed upon that. And this is why I think too that a lot of young artists have this misinterpreted sense of like how to be more creative just by doing their own stuff. But just real talk, like, you're never gonna grow from your comfort zones. So my friend, you just need to burn that security blanket and you just need to dive into the stuff that you don't like to do, mix that in with the stuff that you do like to do. And this also pertains to like if you're gonna go ahead and work with clients. Like, I get given a scope every single time I'm making a client-based work. but it's still within my means to bring this to the best point that I can. Again, giving it that time and attention, giving it that love that it needs in order to bring out the best possible version of that. Just because you constrain, I don't know, like what type of material you use or what type of colors you use or what the characters look like, y'all don't understand that it actually takes a lot more brain power for you to work within those contexts than just this ever expansive context of like, oh, well, I can just do whatever I want. And as somebody that one-on-one mentors people, I can't tell you how many times people come to me who've been doing whatever they want for a long time and they don't see their growth potential because that's all that they've been able to do. So don't fall into this trap of limiting yourself into thinking that your creativity is best when there are no reins, when you only get to serve your wants and needs, because what you're doing is you're actually stunting yourself. See how that works? Now, a big part of me and my channel and just what I do on a daily basis is helping artists achieve what they want to. And a lot of you really want to do something with art for a career or to monetize something. And if that's what you're looking for out of this, by the way, please hit that like and subscribe because I'm here for you every single week to help you to actually do that in a realistic and achievable manner. But one of the worst myths that this surrounds itself with is the idea that an art job is all or nothing. And so tell me, like, do you feel like this is not achievable for you? Do you feel like, well, Sean, I tried to do this, but I didn't, so I just gave up and I did that? Or are you kind of looking at, well, I do work, but I want to go ahead and do this job instead. But I want to grow in our business, but I want to sell on Etsy, but I want to start commissions, but I want to start to freelance. Or anything in between. Is this you? And later I'll talk to you about how to balance that full-time job obligation. I get you on that. So one of the worst myths that I need to debunk for you right now is that you can have an art job along with whatever else you're doing, my friend. An art job doesn't have to be all in. Like you're not just binarily just a failure at art or a success at art. There's a lot of middle ground to be covered. And my friend, just putting this out there for you, okay? Like, if you work a full-time job, if you have other obligations, why can't you just grow what you want to grow on the side? Because most people are just going to go ahead and waste their entire life away. Most people are just going to go ahead and spend all of their hard-earned labors and efforts and mental and emotional energy into a job that they don't even care about, and then come home and rot. And so why would you want to do that, my friend? You can and absolutely should stop using that as an excuse as to why you can't pursue any type of artistic field, why you can't pursue your own endeavor, why you can't do something meaningful for you, okay? And if you've never heard this, like, for the love of God, please hear me out right now. It's not too late for you to do this at any stage of your life. It's okay if you've had failure. You will always learn more from failure than you will from success because success is nothing to teach you, my friend. But failure is the best teacher. I'm thinking about my own experience with this one too. I've grown myself from just doing a commission once in a while to being very, very consistent with this. And you can do this stuff too. I teach you about it all over my channel. And if your immediate response to this is that, well, Sean, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I've got loads of tips and advice for you on how to do this. But my friend, just consider this. Y'all, there are so many artistic opportunities for you out there. You just have to start them and you have to pursue them and you can grow them. Just because it's not your full-time income doesn't mean that you can't have it. All right, so when you think about somebody who is just a phenomenal artist, do you ever really think about their life or what they have or haven't had to go through, or just what their availability to resources was, or just whom they might have grown up around, or the area or the time period and all that? Do you ever look at somebody who is an artist that you really, really admire, right? And you're just like, man, they're just so lucky, or like, oh, that sucks. They're just so talented and I'm not. Do you ever adopt this philosophy? Because this leads me into my next myth I want to debunk for you, which is that the best artists are privileged. And I can tell you with absolute certainty and clarity, as somebody who has in person, like not sold a course or a class or anything, like actually taught live in person to thousands of students, that is absolutely false. So do not run under this misperception that the best artists are the most privileged ones, because you might think like, oh, well, they were just rich, or they had great parents, or they had the best opportunities, or they had nothing else on their plate. Y'all, no, That is absolutely not the case, okay? I can absolutely tell you that a lot of artists are fighting a lot of secret battles that you have absolutely no idea about. And a lot of artists that you really look up and you admire, and you might be like, oh, well, I really wish that I had their opportunities. I really wish that I lived their life. Oh, if I was only them and not me, then I would be just like them and I wouldn't feel like a loser like me. But here's the reality, is that so many of them go through struggles that you could not even imagine. Like when I hear the backstories behind some of the most prolific artists, I wouldn't want you to go through that. I wouldn't want to go through it either. And the danger here is that you're putting yourself down because you haven't gone through or you haven't had the lifestyle that they have. But I just want to ask you, like, could you handle a life that's significantly worse than yours or disadvantaged than yours? And did they maybe have some economic advantage or territorial advantage? They were born somewhere, or geographically they were available to some other thing. But y'all, I think we really need to break this down. In the year 2025 right now, like, you can't be that person who is still complaining that you don't have access to resources. Because as somebody who is an art education professional, I've been working in this field for 15 years now, and I also have my own mentorship, and as somebody who's been a growing artist as well for all of my lifetime, there's never been a better availability of resources for you, like free resources or incredibly affordable resources for you. No matter where you live in this world, you have access to resources. The number one issue that you're most likely avoiding, though, is how you're allocating your resources, because most people are absolutely tragically terrible at managing their resources, okay? And there are two resources that you need to go ahead and manage the most above all, which is your time and your energy. And above all else, if you can manage your time and your energy well, then you can go ahead and you'll move mountains. And what some of these people have been able to do that you really look up to is not that they were born into like hoity-toity, ultra-privileged status, okay? They were actually just people who managed their time and managed their energy and their expectations in order to achieve what you wish that you had too. And so if you adopt that mindset, then you can switch everything that you're doing, or you can turn everything around that you have going against you that you perceivably think is a blockade for you in your success right now. Have you considered that? Because this is a really harmful mentality. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just magically transform, most likely into your parents. I'm going to transform into your guidance counselor. Let me just go ahead and take the role of a friend that you might have, maybe an aunt, an uncle, or something like that. And let me just say this one for you, because you probably heard this if you're an artist. If you haven't, well, I guess you're pretty blessed. But most of us are told that this is completely unrealistic. Have you ever been told that? Oh, being an artist, no, that's unrealistic. You can't do that one. No, we don't do that. That's not something that you can do. Or how about this, Jim? It's not a real job, right? I can't even believe that people still say that in this day and age. It's so stupid. And like, the thing that I think more people need to understand about this, and especially like as an artist, here's the thing. I hate this phrase for two reasons. Number one is that this programs you into believing it. Like, just hearing this, especially from somebody that you love or you admire or you look up to or you see as an authority figure, it programs you into limiting beliefs that can forever stunt your development. Not because you actually can't do the thing that you want to do, especially as an artist, but because you believe it, all right? And your belief system really envelops and limits or expands what you are or are not able to achieve and accomplish in life. And so when you really take a look at the people that are telling you this, the other issue that I have from this is that they are really, really good at shrinking themselves, and then they impose that onto you. And what I mean by that is that when somebody says that they're unrealistic, it doesn't actually mean it's unrealistic. Like, short of like absolute ridiculous limitations on our humanity. Like, we can't fly without the use of airplanes, but I mean, you know, the Wright brothers kind of helped us out on that, didn't they? And so the thing that most people do is they say, oh, that's unrealistic, but they're not actually saying you can't do it. It comes off that way, and that's how you're going to perceive it. What they're actually saying is that I don't think I can do it, so then therefore I don't think that you can do it either. Because what most people have learned to do, especially non-creatives, is learn to just go ahead and give up on themselves, to give up on their dreams, to give up on their ambitions, to not pursue the things that they want to do. And then this can even wrap itself up into like being really aggressive too, because I've seen so many people tell me stories about this. And I've heard so many people tell me like terrible stories, like parents ripping up their sketchbook or throwing away their art over this too. It's unrealistic. You gotta snap out of it. You gotta grow up and all this stuff, right? And honestly, what you're seeing right there is that your ambition really makes them feel insecure. It's got nothing to do with how achievable or unachievable it is. And my friend, like, if anybody ever tells you this, like, here's my mentality, please borrow it. If anybody ever tells me anything is unrealistic, my first thing is, I gotta go for it. I gotta do it. I gotta get it right there. Because my friend, like, you need to understand this at a core level. There is not a single cell in your body that is the same from when you were born, okay? And so because of that, you need to understandably come to the conclusion that, like, you can do whatever you want. You can expand to do all the stuff that you want to do. But if you start to shrink yourself like everybody else is trying to shrink you, then guess what? You will only be a smaller, lesser, more inferior, and less happy and more fulfilled artist than you currently are. Do you really want that? Because it's worth it to fight this. Now tell me, do you struggle with motivation as an artist? Are you somebody that's just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling it. Oh, this is not a good day. I'm not in a good mind space. I'm not in a good head space. This isn't a good time. And I gotta say, like, I hear this pretty much daily, okay? And so I'm not gonna lie, I go through crap too. Like, I gotta go ahead and I gotta deal with this. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a doctoral student, I've got a business to run, I've got a job to do. And so because of all that, I'm just gonna be honest with you, because this presents itself as the next art myth I really want to debunk for you, which is that you need to be in the best mood to create. And so the most harmful thing about this is that it really gives you a horribly warped perception on what motivation is and what confidence is, and how you think you need to operate as a human being. Not only an artist, but as a human being, y'all. But I guess we'll put it into an artistic context here. And so I can't tell you how many times I've created when I'm tired, or I didn't have the best day, or I'm really feeling a lot of resistance against it, and I'm not going to propose to you like, oh, you just gotta force it, you gotta hustle way through it. I'm not gonna say any of that, okay? Because that's not what you need to hear. That's not what I want you to hear either. What I want you to hear is this. If you're looking for the best mood to create, the best mood and the best opportunity that you can create is right now. You are given so much time on this planet and so much time to be alive here. The best opportunity that you're ever gonna have is right now. But we're phenomenally good at talking ourselves out of it, because talking yourself out of it is easier than talking ourselves into it. And here's a big thing that I don't think more people talk about, which is that every single time that you say that you're going to do something and you don't do it, you learn how not to trust yourself. And one of the most important things to do is to convince yourself that you need to trust yourself. So if you're like, I'm not going to do it today, I'm going to put it off till tomorrow, wait a couple of days, no, I'm going to play this game instead. You're literally convincing yourself and telling yourself, I'm not trustworthy. I don't believe in myself. I'm not a confident person. But you've probably never been told that, have you? And so looking for the most optimal time you have is right now. The most optimal mood that you're ever gonna be in is right now. And then another big thing I wanna let you know is that, my friend, even if you're not feeling great, go ahead, make your art happy, sad, frustrated, angry, anxious, doubtful, fearful, whatever it is. Just make it like that, because one of your best, most powerful abilities as an artist is for you to use art to channel your human experience. And what that allows you to do is to actually work your way through your feelings, to actually heal through whatever you're going through, to actually literally, like, the way that your mind works artistically is that you're literally like sorting through all of your experiences, including your most recent ones, the ones that you're not happy about, whatever, and you're actually sorting those away. You're figuring out how to process them, because as you're processing all of your movements on any type of paper or canvas or whatever, you're actually processing how you're feeling in those moments too. And that is one of the most sensationally powerful parts about being an artist. So stop looking for the best time, the best mood, the best opportunity to create, because you have it right now. Are you seizing it? For this next myth, I gotta blame school for a lot of this one. I'm gonna blame a lot of authoritarians in your life for this one too, and it comes down to this. Tell me, what is your biggest artistic failure? Was it a project? Was it a job? Was it a piece that you've been working on for a while? Was it a personal project? Whatever it was, let me know what it is, because this next myth involves how you perceive failure. So tell me, how do you feel about that? Because most artists believe that it's not okay to fail. And I'd like to rebuke this remark, because honestly, if you're not failing enough, you're really not trying that hard either. And so one of the things that I always try to tell more artists, and especially young artists, is that you should expect this to happen more times than you are succeeding. And let's also kind of merge this. Do you ever think that for some people, everything just comes easy? Do you have that artistic friend that's like, oh my God, they're so amazing. Everything they do just comes along easy. Everything that they do, it just comes so seamless. Meanwhile, I'm riding the struggle bus and it's broke down and it's got a flat tire. I get you, because that is your perception of what they have done and what they have accomplished. But what you're not seeing and what you never see from anybody is the mountain of hardships that they've had to endure in order to get to that point. And I'll tell you that even the most successful artists, the ones that you idolize perhaps, they're not proud of a lot of their stuff. And that's the way it's supposed to be, y'all. Because if you didn't have something that you weren't proud of, you would therefore have nothing to be proud of. You would have nothing to compare. And that's because of the fact that you've been taught through school that there is usually one way to get in or out of anything, and that is to succeed or to fail. You either pass the test or you failed the test. You did what your parents told you, or you didn't do it, and now you're in trouble. You got the score you wanted, or you didn't. So you have this binary perception of success or failure. But honestly, that's not the case, artistically speaking. That's one of the greatest strengths to being an artist and as a human being, is for you to learn that there are degrees of failure. And for you to have minor failures, for you to have fractional failures, that's normal, and that is okay, and that's actually going to help you. And so there's this concept that I want to introduce to you, and it's called positive dissatisfaction. So you can be in the process of learning, of developing, of becoming a better version of yourself as an artist, and not be lovey-dovey in love with your artwork, and not just be over the moon for it, and to understand that, yes, okay, I see that, and I see that, and I see this, but I'm proud of this, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of that too. And that's called positive dissatisfaction. But the misconception surrounding that it's not okay to fail, and that some people just, everything comes easy to them, is wholly wrong. And what you're doing is you're fetishizing what the artistic experience is like for some people, and then you're belittling your own. And so just to be real with you, like, you should have a lot of failed artworks. You should have a lot of experiences in which case you don't get the art job. And I'm just going to tell you from experience, like, if you're one of these people that are just like, oh, well, I tried to get freelance work, it didn't work. Or like, people said no to me. And the thing I always tell people is like, good, that should happen to you, okay? Like, you need to earn the no in any type of freelance situation. That's not a bad thing, because then you can look at it and say, okay, what did I do differently? Is this my fault or is it theirs? Do I just not fit what they want? And that's okay. You have to be understanding of the fact that, like, you are going to be told no in life more than yes. Otherwise, you start to develop an entitlement mentality, and you don't want that. That won't serve you as an artist or as a human being, now will it? Now, I know that a lot of y'all will go ahead and struggle with this one. And I think that there's a really bad myth surrounding what your age is like to be an artist. And tell me, do you personally struggle with this one? Do you look at younger artists and you're just like, whoa, that's crazy. They're so much better than me. I've been doing this for so long and I'm never going to be like them, and they're half my age? Or do you think that you have to start young to be an artist? Do you think that there's a cap on what your achievement is based on your age bracket? I mean, listen, as somebody who's closing in on 40 right here, I want to just let you know first and foremost that there's no cap for you. There's no barrier to entry. Like, there's no bouncer at the door to being an artist, okay? And so with that, you have to drop this idea that you have to be young in order to be a great artist. There's actually no correlation between that, okay? Now, just to give it some credence, yes, if you start younger, that can help, but it depends on two factors. Number one is your engagement into it. Number two is your deliberate practice on it, because it's not the same. Like, just as an example, if you're somebody who draws stick figures from the time that they're 4 years old to the time they're 20 years old, there's no real promise in that you're actually going to be a terrific artist, that you're actually going to be able to do anything. I mean, be able to make some killer stick figures maybe, but like, that might not allow you to, I don't know, like, get into Magic the Gathering or like produce a webcomic like you want to, versus somebody who might be 30 years old and they are actually developing very strategically, and they're planning out and they're purposefully designing everything that they are doing. Y'all, please understand this. purpose always trumps time. The way that you utilize your time, the way that you practice what you need to, and the way that you convince yourself that you can or can't do things, this is the most important factor to your actual success, to your actual achievement of what you want. And listen, people don't talk about this enough, but like literally when you become older, you actually have far more resources to become better and to become better much faster than anybody that's young. And what do I mean by that? Is because most of your life as a young person is dictated to you. Most of your life, you're pushed into doing this and that and the other thing, and you got to deal with all the societal pressures and the growing upness of life and becoming an adult. But when you're an adult, you just get to choose what you want to do. The problem, though, is that most adults just waste their life away. They just rot on a couch somewhere, and they rot doing crap that they don't like and doesn't actually fulfill them, or they numb themselves out of actually utilizing the time that they have. That should be your bigger opponent, my friend. Not your age, but your utilization. Think about it like this. Let's just say, as an example, that you looked at your day as a budget, okay? And you had to, every single moment of life, every single minute, you had to pay for it. And you looked at that at the end of a month, just like you would a normal budget, and said, okay, how did I utilize my resources? How did I utilize that time? And would you feel proud of it, or would you start to feel guilty towards it? Because looking at your utilization of time is a far more important metric for you to look at than how much time you had before you currently realize that you're not happy with it. So let's please debunk this. Let's stop talking about it like age matters, because it really doesn't. I've seen so many artists on both ends of the spectrum starting young and got awesome. I've also seen them start young and then just fizzle out. I've also seen people who are like 30 years old plus just become phenomenal artists very quickly over time. And you can be anywhere in between too, my friend. All right, so this is a big one that I hear quite often. It honestly disturbs me. And let me just ask you this. Are you afraid to call yourself an artist? Does that make you uncomfortable? Do you feel like you're not worthy of donning that mantle? Because a big concern that I see from so many artists is that they're not comfortable being called an artist. And what always triggers this is it always comes down to one major reason, I think, which is that they don't have a job that is an artist. And so one of the things that I really just want to go on and blow up right now is the fact that you don't have to have an artist job to be an artist. Y'all, artistry and economics are not intertwined, okay? Just because it's not your main source of income or even any type of your income doesn't mean that you can't say you're an artist, okay? If you've never heard this before, friend, please know it from now on, is that everybody is creative and everybody was born this way and everybody has access to amazing imaginative resources. But the difference between being an artist and electing not to be an artist is a choice. And it's a choice that you are able to convince yourself out of your potential, creatively speaking. Because we are all put on this earth to be creators. The only reason that we are not disgusting monkeys living in small colonies, living in like little tiny dank shelters and caves, is the fact that we are creators. We literally created everything around us. Have you ever thought of the fact that humans are the most pathetic creatures on earth? We take an exorbitant amount of time just to stop pooping our pants and to do anything significant versus every other animal? It's because of the fact that we are creators. It's our major superpower, y'all. And for you as an artist, you have done something incredible. You have gone through this life not succumbing to the societal pressure that you should not create anymore. And this is the difference between people that do and people that don't in life, as far as I'm concerned, especially artistically speaking. And so, my friend, you are somebody who has elected by choice and through a whole lot of effort, gone ahead and survived their childhood and survived their young adulthood or whatever stage you're in right now. And your artistic soul has endured, while everybody else's, they have gone ahead and just abandoned that. That's an amazing achievement. Just for that alone, I don't care what you're doing. If you're trying to get an art job, if you have an art job, or if you're somebody that just doodles in their spare time, guess what? You can say you're an artist. All right, I give you that permission. This is not a competition. This is not about socioeconomics, y'all. It's about humanity. And art is a product of your humanity. It's an artifact of your human experience on this planet. And so one of the worst things you can do is convince yourself out of the fact that you are an artist just because it's not wrapped up in your economics. Just because it's not wrapped up into your income. Don't do that. All right, I gotta tackle this one. I can't ignore it. And it's something that I know that a lot of you deal with, okay? So tell me, do you have a full-time job? Are you somebody who's like, oh, Sean, I wish I could be an artist. I wish I could be a better artist, but I gotta work. I got that 9 to 5. I gotta go ahead and pay my bills. Listen, I get how that goes, but I think this is a big myth that we need to blow apart right now, which is that you can be an artist even if you have a full-time job. You can start that business, you can start that project, and you can go ahead and do this. And so one of the number one mindsets that I think this needs to oppose is the fact that you're actually taught from a very young age, if you didn't know this, to go ahead and live a life of servitude. And that's specifically servitude to somebody else, not to yourself. And being an artist is a selfish endeavor. It's a positive selfish endeavor, but it's still selfish. It's service to you. It's service to your hopes and your dreams. And it's a way of you keeping yourself alive. But what's hard for a lot of artists is that you're actually convinced that you need to betray that instinct. And I totally understand. And I'm not saying that it's easy by any means. But what I am saying is that it is totally achievable. And I want to give you the best possible advice that I ever could on this one. So to do that, I made this video for you right here. Go check it out. And if this helped you, please share it with somebody that you know. Thanks so much and see you next time.